I know what you're thinking. Like, what kind of clickbait title, weird thing is that? But this is actually real. Like, what is the best diet for rapid fat loss when it comes down to like losing 5% of your total fat mass in as fast as possible? There was literally a study that looked at this. It was like a fat loss race. And I know once you find out the answer of what the particular protocol is, you'll want to click off the video. But out of all the videos that are out there right now talking about this particular protocol, this is probably going to be the one that I encourage you to listen to the whole thing with, because there is a downside. It's a big downside, and we need to understand how to balance it, because rapid fat loss is great, but it comes at a cost. So this study was published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. Okay, compared two diets, and the goal was who will lose 5% of their fat mass the fastest. So they took a look at a Mediterranean style diet and a ketogenic diet. Okay, what they found with this was that the ketogenic diet lost that 5% fat in 1 month. The Mediterranean diet lost it in 3 months. Okay, so we have to ask ourselves the question, is rapid weight loss that good? Like, is it okay to lose weight that fast? And from that, there's actually literature that suggests that, and this is going to sound kind of crazy, it doesn't really matter how fast you lose the weight as long as your protein needs are met and as long as you're not going back to your previous calories. So even losing weight really fast is totally fine if you can find a way to make that sustainable. What happens is people restrict calories so much, they lose a bunch of weight, and it's just purely not sustainable. So, they say, I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna go on 1,200 calorie a day diet. That's great, and honestly, more power to you. But what ends up happening is you're stuck there because you have a basal metabolic rate that adjusts to that. And that's just unrealistic. So then the moment that you go on vacation and you eat 2,000 calories a day for a week, even if you're not binging, but you're just eating a little bit more, you're like, kapoof, like, what the heck, man? And then you're discouraged, and then you go back to the well, right? Now, here's what's really important to know about this study. Yes, they lost fat faster, much faster. But longer term, the Mediterranean diet ended up passing them up when it came down to fat loss and waist circumference. I have theories as to why. And as someone that lost 100 pounds personally with the ketogenic diet, I know these feelings all too well, and I can understand why this happened. And hey, full disclaimer, I did keto, and now I do more of a Mediterranean low carb approach. So both of these protocols are near and dear to me, which is why I find this study so interesting. The number one reason why keto works so well for fast fat loss is because in people that are metabolically damaged, it resurrects that fat oxidation. In metabolically damaged people that are overweight and have a serious degree of they just don't utilize fuels very well, when you start trying to tell their body to use fat, it's kind of difficult to happen. So when you condition it to use fats via a ketogenic diet by really giving it no other choice, it learns how to oxidize fats better. Fat oxidation rates increase, which means the cells are burning fat easier and more effectively. It doesn't mean that you're magically going to burn more fat than whatever exists. Like, you're not going to deny physics, okay? It's still, calories still apply, let's put it that way. But your efficiency at utilizing fat might quickly improve, especially if you're metabolically damaged, because what's important to note about this study is these were overweight and obese subjects. Most obese subjects are going to have metabolic syndrome or some form of metabolic dysfunction. So when you correct that, well, then is keto really doing you any good anymore? Well, yes, there certainly is, because there's a lot of different evidence there. But as far as weight loss is concerned, it might not be a bad idea to rotate things up, because what ends up happening, and this happens to a lot of people, is the sustainability of keto may not be what it seems. Now, this sounds like I'm harping on keto. Trust me, I was known as the keto guy, still am known as the keto guy. I'm not harping on it, I'm being real. People start doing keto because it sounds interesting and it's fast fat loss. You get to eat foods you haven't really been eating before. And then after a while, you start craving crunches and you start craving certain things. And although there's a small percentage of people, you might be one of them, keto's like, I could do this forever. Like, I have no problem eating these foods. Don't ever need a crispy piece of fruit or anything ever again. But as someone that's in this industry, I've talked to thousands of people, like literally thousands of people. And I'd say, if I had to guess, about 75 to 80% of them find keto unsustainable because they miss those foods. And they're just real people, like they just want to enjoy foods. And that happens is like they go off one day and then they go off 2 days and then they just like, I'm sick of keto, I don't want to do it again. So it's not sustainable. If people could stick on it, could it be better than Mediterranean? I think it probably would be. I mean, it worked so well for me because I did it for years straight and I just went from obese to very, very lean. And there's no denying that. But the lack of sustenance and like whole foods that people tend to like not get on keto makes it a problem. The second thing I would chalk up to electrolyte issues. People end up not getting enough of their electrolytes on keto because your kidneys are expelling extra water. And what ends up happening then is, as a result of the kidneys expelling extra water, you're losing electrolytes, and this is sending you further down that cycle. This can affect your entire neurological system. So it can affect cravings, it can affect your energy. When your energy levels are low, it's easier to opt for poor food choices. It's harder to work out. So you find a lot of people doing keto end up feeling lethargic. But it doesn't matter what diet you're doing. If you are moving and active, even if you're not sweating, you need to replenish electrolytes. It's funny, when I talk to like Apollo Ono, a 8-time Olympic medalist, he was telling me how like when he was training, they didn't even focus on electrolytes. And he was like, man, I can't imagine how much better I might have performed today if I had looked at using electrolytes that we weren't even paying attention to back then. So especially when you're restricting calories and your insulin levels are lower, you're going to drop electrolytes more. So you need to replenish them. I put a link down below for the ones that I recommend. Yes, they are a sponsor on this channel, but why not insert at a place where it's applicable and makes sense and is relevant to the subject matter? So that link down below gets you a free sample pack of LMNT electrolytes with any purchase. So they have some that are 0 calorie, the others are 5 calories. So technically they're totally fine on a ketogenic or any kind of diet. But the best part about them is there's something that you can drink and it will sort of make it so you're not hungry. So their grapefruit salt is, I can't even tell you, it's amazing. The grapefruit salt, the citrus salt, they have a variety of different chocolate flavors that they release here and there for the seasons that you can drink hot. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Have 1 or 2 of those suckers a day during your workout, whatever. It is a game changer, and you'll probably find yourself eating less as well. So that link is down below, drinklmnt.com/Thomas. The next issue is the lack of micronutrients. So with keto, what ends up happening is people get so hooked on the meat and the cheese and the oils and the nuts, but they really are lacking the micronutrition. Now, if you're eating an adequate amount of high quality red meat, then you're probably getting good amounts of nutrition. Okay, I won't lie with you, but I've talked to, again, thousands of people that have done this protocol, and myself included. I wasn't eating a ton of red meat. I was eating things like chicken, I was eating tuna and mayonnaise, whatever, to get the protein and the fats, And I may have, had some greens here and there, but then realistically, like later on, I adopted more of a Mediterranean low carb approach, where I did like a low carb version of Mediterranean, where I ate the lean cuts of beef, and then I ate the sardines, and I ate the sockeye salmon, and I also ate the mussels, and I also ate the tomatoes, and I also ate the Swiss chard, and all the veggies, and all the good stuff, and all the cheeses, and all the healthy oils, and the olives, all of that fits into a Mediterranean profile, but with low carb principles. I think the Mediterranean diet worked long term for people because there's a heck of a lot of variety with Mediterranean. So when it came down to long-term success, they just had something that they could adhere to. So what you need to focus on doing as a playbook is getting the weight off fast is important. And we do not give enough credit where credit is due with this, okay? Because the literature suggests that whether you lose weight in the short term or over the long term, it's about the same metabolic impact. Here's where my argument comes in. If you lose weight fast, you could be saving years on your life. Because if it takes you 2 years to lose 100 pounds, that's 2 years that you have to be living with excess weight and excess fat that is causing metabolic harm. If you can lose that 100 pounds faster in a safe way, then that's more time that you are existing at a healthy weight, in a healthy metabolic state. So think of having excess body fat as this big black cloud that is lingering over you. And the longer that that black cloud is lingering over you, the more it's raining on you and damaging you, okay? So the quicker that you can shrink that black cloud, the quicker you can start recovering and get to a better place. So even if keto is not sustainable, we have to look at the randomized controlled trials and understand that for rapid weight loss, it is effective. So let's be real here. No one is denying that keto is good, bad, or ugly anymore. People just say, yep, it's another way to lose weight. We don't need to get into the nuance in this video. The literature is quite strong. If you are overweight, it's probably a very effective way for you to lose the weight fast. Once you lose the weight, then try something different. Go for it, because you don't have to be married to that same approach. Now you can go into something where you can focus on micronutrition. You can focus on your fruits and your veggies. What I eat more of now, I eat a crud ton of fruit. I don't eat a lot of carbs, but I eat a lot of fruit. The bottom line is, like, I'm not married to any one thing anymore. But the one thing I am married to is high amounts of protein. And that is where the literature is strong once again. If you lose the weight fast, be prepared for metabolic slowdown. The best way that you can ramp this back up, better than any one particular diet, is increasing that protein and increasing it as much as you comfortably can. Okay? Increase that meat intake, increase the yogurt intake, increase that protein shake intake, whatever you gotta do. Get that up. Drop the weight however you feel comfortable dropping the weight. But then step one, damage control, boom. Protein goes up. Once the protein is up, then get creative. But realistically, for long-term health, the Mediterranean approach with a lower carb flair seems to have the most bang for the buck. As always, keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.